Family Review number 2, the leading Oscar contender for 2018, Shape of Water, directed by Guillermo del Toro, who directed Pan's Labyrinth and The Devil's Backbone, to name a few. Okay, so we were all kind of dreading this in one way.
I've never dreaded going to see a film as much as I dreaded going to see this. I am not a fan of Sally Hawkins. I didn't really want to see a film about a woman falling in love with a fish. I had a heavy heart all day about going. But totally, remarkably, I enjoyed it. I actually enjoyed the film, and I was so shocked with every minute that I was enjoying it.
Maybe it's because she wasn't talking in this one.
Yeah, but she doesn't talk in this one. She is mute in this one. But I'm just going to start with the fact, because I know you're both really shocked, because I've been dreading all day going to see this film. I enjoyed it.
I don't see what's interesting about a mute lady falling in love with a fish. Like, there is nothing about it that even sounds interesting.
But I
found it so boring. And it was like I liked a lot of the characters. I didn't like her character at all. It was like there were two different stories going on at the same time. There was the love story between her and the fish. And then there was well, I'm not going to ruin it, but the other character's story, which I quite liked because there was humour in there.
Which character did you like?
I liked her best friend.
And the neighbour.
And the neighbour.
Yeah.
I liked the villain, Michael Shannon.
Yeah.
See, for me...
I've never fallen asleep in the cinema watching a movie before, and I fell asleep in this.
And Maddie prides herself on this, that she has never fallen asleep, because she's a true movie buff.
I saw a Hunger Games marathon that lasted from 7 at night till 8:30 in the morning, and I didn't fall asleep.
Yeah. I have to say, for me, the most dramatic moment in the entire film was Maddie falling asleep for even 5 minutes, because at that point I had to reevaluate what I was watching. For what it's worth, I've never been a fan of Sally Hawkins. This doesn't make me a fan of Sally Hawkins. Now, she's a favourite to win the Oscar. I found even the way she played a mute janitor, she overdid it.
But I think she's a very theatrical, mannered actress, and the thing is this, and I hate that, but the thing is this film is, what's it called, magic realism.
Yeah.
So she's playing it in a very theatrical way. You could, at points I actually felt like I was in the theatre. I just thought that this was a beautiful story about loneliness and that need that everybody has to be loved or to feel connected.
Yeah,
and I think that all of the characters, we saw that, even the phenomenal baddie, he was trying to make connections, and so I thought that was, and it was long.
It was
it was long as well,
God,
and still
I fell asleep, and you know when you fall asleep and you think you've fallen asleep for a lot longer than you had, and I woke up and I was like, this film's still on.
I've never heard
it.
you say anything like that your whole life. You were a true
I hated
fan.
it that much.
What did you think of the creature?
I didn't mind him at first, but as soon as it got all lovey-dovey between them, I was really like...
Well, it is unsavoury. You don't want to think of a person falling in love with a fish.
Things were a bit fishy at times.
Yeah, there was something fishy going on all the way through that film.
It's just I didn't feel for her character at all. I had no sympathy for her character. I don't really care if she died or anything. I have more sympathy for the fish.
See, Maddie, I would totally be expecting to agree with you on this. I can't say enough how much I am not a fan of Sally Hawkins, but I kind of did get taken away with the magic of the story. And for me, Octavia Spencer from Hidden Figures, and she was in Help as well, wasn't she?
Help, yeah.
The Help. She was phenomenal. She was
remarkably
funny.
good. Yeah.
She touched my heart. She played a woman's woman like nobody else, and she was just very, very funny.
My guilty pleasure throughout it, and these are the two characters that made me just, every time they were on screen, I was absolutely captivated, was Richard Jenkins, her neighbour, and Michael Shannon, the villain. I have not seen a villainous part that good in a long time. And what I liked about the film, as if it's like a poem, isn't it? Was that however awful the character was, and Michael Shannon was pretty awful, They all had loneliness. They were all hunting for a connection, and they were all hunting for sort of something between themselves.
He almost crumbled my bones. He was so disgusting. Michael Shannon was so disgusting. I almost felt my bones crumbling. Oh my God, he was brilliant. And that extraordinary physicality he has, that jaw and the eyes and the height and the width. I found him just petrifying.
When you like gore, so did you like those parts of the film?
Yeah.
Well, I couldn't look, so I don't know what happened.
Because Mum found Black Panther gory and violent, and that's nothing compared to this film. Even I was a bit like, in a few of the scenes, yeah, there are some pretty nasty gory scenes.
Are you referring to some possible scenes around involving digits on a hand?
Yeah.
There's some pretty gruesome, I mean, toe-curlingly gruesome moments in this film.
But if you're not somebody that loves gore, and I'm not, there's kind of enough warning that you can turn your head away, isn't there? There's a good little build. So a lot of the time I had my head under Maddie's armpit when it was gory. There's probably 6 or 7 extremely gory moments.
I was also going to say I loved his characteristic. He was always eating those green sweetie drops, the sucky sweets. Like in every scene, he was having them like all the time.
It was quite chilling, wasn't it? The way he crunched them into his teeth.
And then he chucked the packet.
Well, every time he was crunching them, I was thinking, oh, that could almost be bone.
I thought one of the best moments in the entire film was when he had a certain individual in a compromising position, and he described why he liked the sweets.
Oh yeah.
I thought that was like so chilling.
Yeah.
Because it was so matter of fact.
Like even the villain, although he was evil, there was something about him that was kind of like, don't know.
You had empathy for him at the same time.
Yeah. That's what I liked about it. It was the sympathy that you felt for characters.
I was left sitting there thinking, why have they made this film?
I still don't know.
I think that's insane that you're asking that. Why are you asking that? It's a story.
No.
He's just telling a story.
I know,
He's telling
but a mute girl falling in love with a fish.
Well, you could say that about any story that isn't just the norm. It's a story
but
outside.
It's on another level.
No, but the feelings are the same. It's just about love. Why is it a fish? I think because he just wanted to take us on a fantastical journey.
I thought there were some rather wonderful tributes, if you like, to the lighting of certain films and the sort of, I get what you mean, the slightly magical kind of performance, and sort of coming into shade and light and all that kind of stuff. I thought that was quite nice.
Yeah, it was like La La Land on fish.
Yeah, La La Land but scaly.
Like I liked all of the sets.
I think they were lovely, those moments between her and the neighbour played by Richard Jenkins, where they were watching all those old musicals and doing and the dancing. There was, because what I found as well, that there was romance in a way in the friendships.
Yeah.
Because they were all so lonely. Her friend at work, her neighbour, all of them were wanting romance in their life.
It really is a modern day fairy tale.
It is a modern day fairy tale. I mean, think of, Snow White. She fell asleep
for adults.
She fell asleep for 100 years in a glass coffin, and they had a kiss and then woke up. It's a fairy tale.
I also thought there were like loads of unnecessary nude and sex scenes in it. They didn't need those bits.
Fair dues. I thought there were a couple of very awkward moments at the beginning that you felt they did feel gratuitous. I didn't quite understand. Do you think there was a point to them?
Yes. I mean, they were quite. I mean, I didn't like the sex scene between the villain and his wife. That was a bit too gratuitous for me, but it was over very quickly. He didn't need it. He didn't need that shot. But the first, the masturbation scene in the bath, I think was important when you think what happens later.
It's because she was in water. Yeah.
But still. Do you have to do like
15-year-old.
Daily update.
A daily update.
When she's 15, she was sitting with her mum and dad in the cinema. I mean, go on.
I mean, if I was with my friends, it's kind of laughable, but when you're with your parents, it was a bit like...
Would you have laughed if you'd been with your friends?
Yeah, I would just laugh that kind of stuff off. But going on with the whole dancing with the fish, it was a bit too much.
I have to admit that once we saw her dancing with the fish, I felt we'd crossed a line.
Yeah.
When that scene happened, I had to pinch my thighs approximately 8 times to remind myself I was watching something that had actually been produced, commissioned, decided on being made, that a whole group of creative individuals have said, yes, this scene of a dancing fish will work.
Yeah.
And I was just like...
And deserves an Oscar.
Once the fish was dancing, it looked like a fish soup.
It really did, and I was looking very... this sounds awful.
The animatronics in the fish soup before that were very, very good.
Did anyone else keep looking at its crutch? I was just fascinated
Yeah,
by whether
especially after they were
Hang on,
like...
hang on.
Oh, hang on.
No, she went like this. She went like this. Hang on. No. I know the exact way she did it. She went.
And if you want to know what that means,
Go see the movie.
go see the film.
Keep your eye on the fish's crutch. Dad, who was your favourite?
Okay, well, if push came to shove, I would actually give this an absolute recommend to watch for the very simple purpose of enjoying and relishing Michael Shannon's performance. I think it's an absolute treat of a villain.
But you see, everything on paper about this film would not be me, would it?
I like the fact that it's wrong-footed you.
So I can't say to you, don't go if you don't like this and you don't like that and you don't like it, because I don't like any of those things, and I liked it, and I love that if I go to the theatre or the cinema and I'm surprised by something. But I can't say to you that you're going to guaranteed have a great night at the cinema, because it is a Marmite. It's going to be a Marmite, this film. You're either going to love it or hate it. I went with a terrible feeling of dread that I was going to have the worst evening of my life, and I really enjoyed it.
I went with the same feeling and came out feeling the same way.
Did you?
Do you feel like it's a night of your life you can never get back?
Yes.
Scores out of 10.
I give it 3 out of 10. It's like a waste of 5 hours.
It's not 5
It
hours.
felt like 5 hours.
Oh dear.
I'm going to give this film 6 because it was a really good surprise. I was expecting it to be a -4. I enjoyed it. I would never watch it again, and I wouldn't say to somebody you absolutely have to go and see it, but I got a lot more from it than I thought I would.
If you're a fan of villainous performances, this has to go into your top 10 films of the year. On all other levels, I'm all up for a very sort of abstract, surreal and odd fairy tale. But I'm afraid there was too much Sally Hawkins in it for me. It was too much.
And Mum was right, the tingly music made her even
Tinkly
more
music
annoying.
made her seem even more sort of twee. So, and I know she was meant to be twee, but it was a bit too twee for me. I'm going to give it 5.5.
Confused? You will be.
Tell us what you think. I think Peter Rabbit's coming up soon.